And hello, everybody, and welcome to Synergy Theater's YouTube channel. You have arrived on a Friday night, and we are just 5 minutes away from showtime. Tonight's performance is The Life and Adventures of Peppermint Jones. I am so delighted to be here for you. I am the artistic director of Synergy Theater. My name is Ken Adams. When Synergy Theater is out in the real world, we perform full-length improvised plays at the Leisure Center for the Performing Arts in beautiful downtown Walnut Creek, and we teach improv classes at a lovely studio in Berkeley called Shotgun Studios. Of course, we are not out in the real world right now. We are very delighted to be coming to you right from the comfort and privacy of our own homes, right into the comfort and privacy of your own homes. If you're here with us tonight, thank you so much for finding us. We appreciate it and we love you. Synergy Theater is here every Thursday and Friday night with all new improvised plays every week. Sometimes it's a brand new play, sometimes it's something that we've done before, but it doesn't matter because every single time we perform for you, it is all improvised, all made up on the spot, and all based on your suggestions. We are just 4 minutes away from the start of tonight's show, and we have so many fun and exciting things in the works for you here at Synergy Theater. We have 8 brand new shows, 8 shows that we have never done before that we're creating just for our new Zoom online platform that's going to be featured in our fall and winter schedule that will start in September. We'll be sure to let you know all about it. Meanwhile, between now and the end of August, every Thursday at 4 and every Friday at 7, we have a different show for you. So come back to our channel every weekend and see what we have going on. Tonight, I am very excited to be appearing with my friend and very talented performing partner, Valerie Regalia. The two of us have been having a blast performing The Life and Adventures of Peppermint Jones, and we can't wait to dig into it again tonight. We are just 3 minutes away from showtime. If you would like to interact with us tonight and offer us suggestions to influence the plot of our show, we would love that. And what you got to do is you have to log on to your YouTube channel in order to be able to access the chat. That's how we're going to get your suggestions. I see Karen Harrell is out there with us tonight and Valerie is out there with us tonight. Welcome. Thank you both for being here. And if you would like to interact with us via chat, go ahead and log on to your YouTube channel, and then you'll be able to offer us suggestions that we're going to use in our show. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You don't have to. You could just sit back and watch us on your television or on any device you have and enjoy the show. And know that if you suddenly hear us talking about something that seems maybe a little bit out of left field, well, that's not out of left field at all. That's because somebody on our YouTube chat gave us a suggestion and we are taking that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just 2 minutes away from the start of tonight's show. May I take a moment to mention that Synergy Theater is a nonprofit arts organization. And like all nonprofit arts organizations, we have been significantly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, cutting off much of our traditional revenue stream. Now more than ever, we are dependent upon you, our patrons and our audience, to help keep us going so that we can continue to provide live free entertainment like this for the rest of the time that we're all stuck inside together, making it a little bit easier by connecting via this medium of improvisational theater. So if you are able to help us out a little bit with a donation, we would appreciate that very, very much. All you have to do is go to our website, synergytheater.com, synergytheater.com, click on Support Synergy Theater, and any amount of money that you'd be able to help us out with would be greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just 1 minute away, from the start of tonight's presentation, Synergy Theater's The Life and Adventures of Peppermint Jones. And we're back and it is time to start our show. Hello, everybody. My name is Ken Adams. I'm the Artistic Director of Synergy Theater. You have found our YouTube channel and welcome to tonight's presentation of the life and adventures of Peppermint Jones. I am delighted to introduce my partner for the evening. Please welcome Valerie Regalia to the screen. Hello, Valerie. How are you tonight?
Good, thank you. How are you, Ken?
I am very, very well, and it is lovely to have you here. All right, Valerie and I are going to improvise a full-length play for you, and something you might notice as the play gets underway is that I'm going to play the title character of Peppermint Jones, but Valerie is going to play all the other characters in the show. So we are going to base our story on 3 suggestions that we get from you, the audience, tonight. Now, this is when you're going to need that chat feature in YouTube. Here are the suggestions. As soon as you are struck with an idea, go ahead, pop into the chat and just offer up your ideas. The first 1 or 2 that we see, that is the one we will take. Now, this is going to be a large, sweeping adventure in the life of Peppermint Jones, and along the way, he's going to encounter at least 3 things. The first thing is a location, some kind of maybe even unusual location that you would like to see Peppermint Jones end up in tonight. As soon as you get an idea, don't be shy, just pop right on there and type in a location. The second suggestion that we're going to ask you for is an occupation. At some point in the show, somehow this occupation will become important. So go ahead, as soon as you get an idea, just pop onto the chat there and type in an occupation. And finally, the third thing that we're going to ask for tonight is an object. Any type of object at all, and that object will somehow be prominent in the show. All right, for the location, I see Heather Adams has popped up and she has given us a forest. So that will be the location. At some point in the show, a forest will feature prominently. And now for the occupation, I see a fisherman. Valerie Jord has offered us a fisherman. So that is what we'll take. And then for the object, we need any type of interesting or innocuous object. Oh, how about that? From Karen Harrell, we have a snow globe. Let's make a snow globe the object. All right.
And then
so we have a forest, we have a fisherman, and we have a snow globe. Are you ready, Valerie?
I think that we're ready, except that would we like a title for this?
That is an excellent idea. All right. Yes, we are going to get a title from you as well. Thank you, Valerie. And here's how we'd like to get that title. The title of the show is The Life and Adventures of Peppermint Jones. Peppermint Jones has had so many adventures that he has numbered them all. So tonight it's going to be The Life and Adventures of Peppermint Jones, episode number 27, Peppermint Jones and now we would like you to fill in that blank for us. Peppermint Jones and that will be the title of our show. So go ahead, as soon as you're struck with an inspiration, go ahead and pop that in there. Thank you, Valerie. I couldn't do this show without you.
That would be weird without me.
I certainly wouldn't want to. All right, as we are waiting for the title to pop up, allow me to take one brief moment to mention that Synergy Theater is a small nonprofit arts organization, and we are very heavily dependent upon your generous donations. If you have anything to spare, it would go a long way for us. Please go on to synergytheater.com and click on Support Synergy Theater. All right, let's see. I see, how about, okay, Peppermint Jones inside the perfect snow globe storm. Peppermint Jones inside the perfect snow globe storm. That is an awesome title, and that's what we will take. All right, my friends, we are ready to begin. I'm going to send Valerie off to places. I'm going to disappear for just one moment. And when I come back, we will begin our show. Well, howdy. My name is Peppermint Jones, and I'm an older man now, but I wasn't always an older man. Nowadays, I like to sit out here in this park on this bench, look up at that clear blue sky and see the tree branches blowing in the gentle breeze and think back on my life when I was younger. But time was, I had me a whole bunch of adventures as a young man. In fact, I had so many adventures that I used to number them and give them titles. And tonight, I'm gonna tell you a story that I call The Life and Adventures of Peppermint Jones, episode number 27, Peppermint Jones Inside the Perfect Snow Globe Storm. Now, this all happened when I was just a young slip of a thing, not more than 22 years old. And I wasn't clean shaven the way I am now. Oh no, I had me lots of hair on my head, just like that. Well, this story starts off after I had left my hometown of Harbinger Falls and had struck out on my own. I was looking for work and I was living in a big city called New Urchin Town. Now, New Urchin Town was filled with all kinds of exciting things. Why, they had a main strip that went 2 or 3 blocks without stopping. One night, after I had spent a whole day looking for work and not able to come up with anything, I went into a local tavern. I was 22 and I was able to have a drink if I wanted it. My mama always told me I shouldn't go into local taverns. But you know what? I was feeling courageous that night and I walked inside. Well, the local tavern was real beautiful. And as soon as I walked inside, I saw a strange old man behind the bar. He had to be 75 or 80 years old if he was a day. And he had a nice twinkle in his eye and wore those silver slim spectacles that old people do. Well, I walked right up to him, and before I could even ask for a drink, he said,
"Are you looking for work?"
"Well, yes, I am looking for work."
"No kidding, my bartender just died."
"Your bartender died? What happened?"
"Oh, he was killed in a tragic accident. You see, he was mauled to death by a falling array of snow globes."
"A small, falling parade of snow globes? Please tell me that whole story."
"Well, it happened right here in this bar. You see, back in the attic, we have a giant collection of Christmas decorations. And he went to go get the stuffed turkey for Thanksgiving. And, well, he pulled out one of the objects and it tumbled everything down on top of him."
"Well, you must be heartbroken. I imagine he was a friend."
"No, I didn't like him.
Oh.
Don't get me wrong. It's a tragedy that he's dead. But he and I did not get along very well. Hence, I'm not crying."
Well, I don't know. I have to say it makes me kind of nervous to take over the job of a dead man.
"Ah, don't worry, you'll get along just fine. You like to drink, right?"
Well, to be honest with you, and I didn't know if I should go ahead and confess this or not, but I figured What the heck? You shouldn't lie at a job interview. To be honest with you, I've never had a drink before in my life.
No problem. Who cares? You'll do great, Sonny. You can teach yourself on the job.
Well, what would my responsibilities be?
Well, you just pour beer. That's about it.
A beer tender.
A beer tender.
Well, I don't know if it was the fumes in the bar that were getting to my head, or if I was just somehow entranced by the deep gleaming twinkle in that man's eyes and cheeks. But I said yes, and I took that job right then and there. I'll do it, mister. I'll be your beer tender.
Thank you. There's just one other thing that comes with the job.
What is it?
You have to help me. You see, I live upstairs, and I need help getting into my bathtub. And, cleaning up every once in a while. But mostly, I just can't get in and out of my bathtub. How does that sound to you?
Well, you didn't really list that when you were telling me what I was going to do.
Well, it's a pretty big, important part of the job.
Well, I had come this far already. In for a penny, in for a pound, I always said.
But
All right,
what?
mister.
My nice young niece comes to visit. She's quite a beauty. She helps out as my cook sometimes. Maybe you will get along.
If I wasn't ready to accept the job before, and I was sure ready to take it now. All right. I always believed that everything happens for a reason. There must have been some reason I walked into this bar tonight, having never walked into a bar before, and maybe it was to meet you and take this job.
I believe it was.
Well, he took an old bar towel and he tossed it at me. And as soon as that bar towel hit my hand, why, I felt like I was at home and had been a beer tender for 25 years. I walked behind the bar and he walked into the back room in order to get something. Well, it seems like as soon as he left, it must have been happy hour at the bar, because the door opened and so many people started coming in. There were young people dancing, and there were old people hobbling, and there were middle-aged people, until finally the entire bar was just crowded with people. I looked over to a corner in the table, and there were 3 people there having a conversation.
Yes, I hear the jazz player's quite nice. The jazz player has many secrets, I've heard. Yes, he does.
Suddenly, I realized they were talking about the jazz player that was playing right there in the bar. I didn't even realize, but sure enough, there was the jazz player in the corner of the bar, up on a little stage, playing on his saxophone. People started dancing and the talking and the chattering. Why, it was just the most exciting feeling I had ever had in my life. Well, I realized it was time to start pouring beer, and my first customer came right up to me. My first customer was a big truck driver looking man wearing a leather jacket with a hat on his head, and he had a big booming voice.
Do you have beer?
Well, I sure did. There was only one spout that looked like it was beer, so I filled up my first mug of beer and I slid it to him on the bar like I saw them do in movies sometimes.
Oh, that's a good beer, Sonny boy. You must have been doing this a long time.
I had him fooled, sure enough. Well, hour after hour went by, different people popping up to the bar, ordering a beer. Thankfully, nobody wanted anything except a beer that night, and I was the beer tender supreme. Well, finally, I had run out of clean glasses, and so I needed to go back into the room in the back in order to get some clean glasses. But when I opened the door into this back room, there was my boss sitting in the corner, holding a snow globe and crying. Well, what's the matter?
I'm ashamed to say it was my fault that that man died. And I did love him. I said that I didn't like him very much, but that was a lie. He was my best friend. He was my son, but he didn't know it.
How'd your son not know he was your son?
Well, he didn't ever know who his father was. But it was me. I was a friend of his mother's a long time ago. And it was my negligence arranging my Christmas items that caused his death. And I demanded that he get down the Thanksgiving decorations. It's not even Halloween yet. Have you ever done something you regret?
I sure did. I once had a chicken that I loved very much, and it was my turn to go out back and find a chicken that we can slaughter up and cook for dinner that night. That was back when the cousins were visiting, and I had myself just a little bit too much water to drink before, and I had to go to the bathroom real bad. But Mama said, you go out and get that chicken before you went to the bathroom. Well, I sure enough wasn't going to take my friend the chicken. I was going to take one of the other chickens, but I had to go to the bathroom so bad that I wasn't paying attention. And I grabbed my beautiful Henrietta and brought him in. And before I knew what was happening, Mama had cut its head off.
Oh, I'm so sorry, young man. Young man, do you know your father? And do you think if you didn't know your father and then you met him but didn't know that it was him, but would you forgive him, Sonny?
Well, I suppose I'd forgive him. I was gonna say unless he killed me, but I realized that wasn't gonna help at all. Yes, I'd forgive my father no matter what he did to me. In fact, I don't know if this helps any or not, but since you're older like a father and I'm younger like a son, I can forgive you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sonny.
Seems like that snow globe you got there is mighty special to you.
It is. Can I tell you a story?
And I sat down right there on the floor next to him. I realized I didn't even know his name yet. What's your name?
My name is Gerald.
Hi,
Gerald.
Gerald.
Well, listen to this, Peppermint. I told you about my son who died tragically here, and he didn't know that I was his father. But I have another child who also doesn't know that I'm his father. And you see, I always thought I should tell him. It's the brother of my son who just died. And I had been planning this Christmas to tell them that I was their father. But I was going to send this snow globe to my other son. You see, he's a fisherman. He works on a boat. And I was going to tell him.
I looked inside the snow globe, and sure enough, the little diorama in there was of a nice, simple lake with a boat in it and a fisherman in the boat. And when Gerald shook that snow globe, all the water from the lake flew up into the sky and then came down like rain and refilled the lake until it was peace and calm once again. Gerald, you know what my mama told me? My mama told me once that it's always darkest before the dawn. And when I think about that snow globe, I think about something similar. When you shook it just like that, it caused a huge storm. Why, I'd say that was the perfect snow globe storm. But you see what happened after the storm ended? All the water fell back peaceful like, and that fisherman was fishing once again. So I think you might be in the middle of a snow globe storm right now, but all of that water is going to settle down, and I'm going to help you get back in your boat.
What in the heck do you mean?
I have a feeling that you've been afraid to go find your other son and tell him that you're his father. You're afraid because you killed your first boy and you think you might kill your second.
I am afraid. Damn it. I need to do it, Peppermint. I need to find my son. But I can't even get out of the bathtub by myself. How am I supposed to go brave a shipping boat? If only I was a young man.
Don't you see, Gerald? I'm a young man. I could be like your inner young man.
Oh, just like how you're kind of like my son now. After knowing you for 2 hours.
Gerald, it doesn't matter how long you know someone. It only matters what you can do for them.
And you can help me?
Not only that, I'm going to. Let's get you upstairs and give you a nice bath. And then after that, we're gonna pack a bag. We're gonna head out of this town and we're gonna find your son, the live one, that is.
Thank you, Peppermint.
Well, I picked Gerald up and put him over my shoulder and took him upstairs to his apartment, where I gave him the best bath he ever had. It was kind of disgusting, but I had made a promise. After I dried him up and dressed him up and helped him pack, we was about to leave, but I heard a knock at the door. When I opened the door, it must have been that niece. I said nephew because I'm shy in front of girls, but I knew it was a girl. It must have been his niece. Oh, hi.
Hi. I'm a girl. I'm Gerald's niece. My name is Penelope.
Hi, Penelope. I'm Peppermint. I was bathing Gerald. Well, just because we're getting ready to go off on a quest.
A quest? But he can't even get himself in and out of the bathtub.
Well, that's why I'm going to help him. See, we're going to go off and find his one living son. But as soon as I said that, a strike of fear shot through Penelope's face, as if somehow, for some reason, finding that living son was the last thing in the world she wanted Gerald to do. She said to me most unexpectedly,
"You can't do that!"
Can't do that? Why not?
Because I'm his relative, not his son. He doesn't have a son.
Just then, Gerald came out of the back room, and Gerald looked at Penelope and said,
Penelope, it's true. I have a son. I had 2 sons, and now I have 1. What? But what? Yes, that nice young gentleman was my son, the one who died with the snow globe accident. You know. Oh my goodness. Well, but I thought I was, taking care of you, and the money that you have, I was going to have it, or I was, this sounds terrible. I was going to inherit the bar, wasn't I? Of course you are, Penelope. What are you saying? You only spend time with me for an inheritance? Well, no, it's just that I wanted to become an owner of that bar. What do you think about this, Peppermint? Are you
Well,
coming in to get the bar too?
I think if Gerald wants to find his son, we should all be supportive of that. But if there was one thing I was good at, it was seeing evil inside a person, especially behind a pretty face. And I saw evil in the eyes of Penelope.
You know, maybe I should go with you. Maybe Uncle Gerald should stay here. I'm not sure he's well enough. But I'll go with you and make sure the trip goes smoothly.
Well, I didn't think that was a good idea at all, except I couldn't think of any reason to say so that would
That's a
make.
great idea. You
And
must go with him.
Gerald was so excited about the idea that I had to swallow my fear and say, all right. Well, we locked up Gerald's apartment. We took some random stranger down in the bar below and made that person the beer tender. And then, before I knew what was happening, I found myself in a large car with Gerald and Penelope driving away from that town and out on adventure to find his son. Gerald had an idea where to find him. Where do you think it'll be, Gerald?
I think he's heading off on a ship right now to do some fishing.
Well, we
We better
better
go to
hurry
the
up.
harbor.
And
The harbor.
and
No.
Penelope, who was driving the car, well, she stepped on the gas and drove faster and faster. Penelope, you're driving mighty fast, I said.
Well, we have to get there.
Well, sure, but wait a minute. I think the harbor is in the other direction. You're not going towards the harbor at all. You're going towards that forest over there.
So what if I am, huh?
And she pushed the pedal to the metal even further. Poor Gerald's cheeks were pinned back against his face from the velocity of the drive, and he was screaming in fear now.
What's going on?
I was doing all I could to keep my patience, but Penelope was laughing like a wild woman as she took hairpin turns on the mountain road, snaking up and down the sheer rock cliff with a 50-yard drop just to the right of us. Penelope, you're going to kill all of us.
Maybe I will.
And then finally the mountain road ended and she shot us straight off the road into the thick density of a forest, overgrown with tall trees. The car skidded to a halt. I looked over at Gerald. He could barely catch his breath from fear. But Penelope put the car in park and opened the door and started laughing like she was some kind of demon child.
Get out.
I was tempted not to listen to her, but before I could not listen to her, she had a gun pointed at my face.
Get out of the car.
So I opened the door and I ran around to Gerald's side and I opened the door to Gerald. And the two of us got out of the car and Penelope led us deeper and deeper into that forest.
Keep going.
Penelope, you're gonna murder two people just so you could inherit a bar?
I'm in a lot of trouble, okay? I need the money.
Suddenly, it all became clear. Gerald, I don't think you really were responsible for killing your son.
Oh, I didn't want to believe it, but maybe you're right. You think it was Penelope? Set a trap?
And then, just like villains do, Penelope went into a long, dramatic monologue of gleeful victory.
Yeah, you thought it was your fault, old man. but I did it. You weren't smart enough to take care of the situation, but I knew from the beginning when that young man walked into the bar that he was your son. It was so obvious. I could see it on his face, in his DNA, in his eyes. His face looked so stupid, just like yours. Yeah, and I could tell what he was after too. He wasn't after your heart. He was after your money, just like I am, okay? I know an evil person when I see it, and I saw that he was evil and needed to take care of the situation. He was my rival, okay? And one day he uncovered me. He uncovered me breaking into your vault and stealing your money. And so I didn't have any choice. He was going to go tell you, but I didn't want that to happen. So I had the perfect opportunity while he was getting everything ready for Thanksgiving party. I took the opportunity to grab a nice little snow globe I saw with the sweet old little man in a fishing boat. Look at that. These boys get a father, and I never did get a father. I just got a bad uncle. And so I grabbed that snow globe and I bludgeoned him. I hit him in the head.
Now, if there's one thing villains always do, it's always fall into the trap of getting distracted when they get lost in their monologues. That's just what I was counting on. And I took that opportunity to leap at Penelope, and with one fist, I knocked the pistol out of her hand, and with the back of my fist, I knocked her down to the ground, and then I kicked her as hard as I could, and I grabbed Gerald, and we ran off into the woods as fast as we can. Gerald, quick, hurry up!
I'm going as fast as I can, but I can't even get out of the bathtub by myself.
I turned around behind me, and sure enough, Penelope had scrabbled to her feet, regained the pistol, and was making chase, shooting wildly at us. Gerald and I ducked into a cave that we found, which was hidden by the overgrowth of some tall brambles. Gerald, in here, in this cave.
Oh, Peppermint, I'm so scared.
It's all right, Gerald. Just be quiet. We listened and we heard Penelope outside as she was looking for us, but I had covered the mouth of the cave with the brambles and she couldn't see inside.
I'll find you. Wherever you hide, I will find you. Either that or try your luck in the forest. See if you can survive. But I'm waiting here for you. Don't worry.
See if you can survive, Gerald? That sounded ominous.
I don't think I'm able to survive. And I don't want you to die too, young man, because you're like a son to me now.
I promised you that you and I were gonna find your son so that you could reclaim him. You remember what I said? It's not how long you know somebody, it's what you can do for them. And this is what I'm gonna do for you. I don't care how many murderous, villainous maniacs are out there. I'm gonna do this for you. And for the second time I've known him since I met him, Gerald gave me a hug.
Thank you, Peppermint.
The first time was when I was giving him that bath, but I didn't really want to tell you about that. Gerald.
Yes.
Listen carefully.
Okay.
Do you hear something from the back of this cave?
Yes, it sounds like an animal or something.
I think we might be in the animal's home. What kind of animals you figure are in this forest?
Raccoons and squirrels and bears.
I looked around as best as I could see in the dim light, and I found a big branch that was lying on the ground, and and I picked it up for protection. I looked towards the back of the cave where it bent off into the innermost sanctum of the cave, and I heard the growling get louder and louder. At last, a shadow fell upon the turn, and a creature entered, but it wasn't a bear at all, at least not a regular bear. It was a polar bear. And not only that, but this polar bear could speak.
Hello? What are you doing? What are you doing in my cave?
You're not a polar bear at all. You're a woman.
Of course I'm a woman. I live here. I just used this big fuzzy warm coat I found at Burlington Coat Factory.
I'm so sorry. It's just that me and my friend Gerald here, you see, we was being chased by a gun-holding maniac, and we came in here to hide and get safe. Meanwhile, Gerald had made eye contact with this woman, and I do declare there was something going on between them.
Is that you? Gerald? Gerald? Gerald Flowers? Yes, it's you. It's Marjorie, isn't it? It is. This is the mother of my children. This is her. She and I were friends for a long time. And we made love one night, 2 nights, 3 years apart, and had 2 babies. But I ran away. And they never knew me. That was the boys. Oh, Marjorie. Oh, Gerald. How are my boys? You've been in contact with them? Yes, I have. Oh, Marjorie, I'm so sorry to tell you. Jimmy's dead. Jimmy died. I'm so sorry. Oh, no. How did it happen? His murderer is outside right now. She's trying to kill us.
Well, suddenly
His
I
murderer is outside.
Suddenly I saw determination fill behind the eyes of that woman, and when she spoke next, I knew that she had decided upon a course of action that from which she could not be dissuaded.
I'm going to go out there, pretend that I am a bear, and scare her off, or maybe kill her.
Now hold on, just hold on 1 minute. There's been enough death, hasn't there?
What am I supposed to do? She killed my son, and she's trying to kill you.
I know, but you see, Gerald and I, we were trying to find your other son for a happy ending. What could be a happier ending than the 2 of you getting back together as well? And that ain't gonna happen if you're in jail.
Maybe you're right. Well, I'll just have to risk my own life. And I'll go out there and scare her, make her think that I'm a bear, and I'll grab her gun.
If you think that's best, how about if Gerald and I come out with you and we confront her together? You've been living so isolated for so long in your bear costume, you forgot what it's like to count on other people.
That's true. I ran away here 10 years ago when my boys went to college. I needed a place to be myself because I felt I didn't have anybody to love. and maybe I was just running away. I think you're right. No more people can die. We have to go out there and confront her.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Are you still in love with Gerald here?
Yes.
Gerald, are you still in love with this
Marjorie?
Marjorie woman here?
Yes. Oh.
Well, there's something that I ain't never told you, Gerald.
What?
Before I left home and set out in order to become something new and different and found you, I had a previous career aspiration. That previous career aspiration was, well, it was to be a preacher. And so I went to seminary school and I'm an ordained minister. I can't think of a better way to start our road towards happiness than by you two getting married proper like.
And I'm already wearing white.
Gerald, do you take Marjorie here to be your wife that you'll love forever?
I do.
Marjorie, do you take Gerald here to be your husband that you'll love forever?
I do.
And I now pronounce you husband and wife, and you may kiss each other on the mouth with tongue. And then something happened, whether it was magic or whether it was climate change or whether it was just because this adventure had something to do with snow globes. It started to snow. A freak snowstorm started falling. I could see right out the door of the cave through the brambles as the snow started falling down from the sky, covering the earth in a pure white, clean blanket of purity. It was a sign that we were ready for new beginnings. But not only that, the snow gave Marjorie an idea as to how to trap Penelope.
I say, we can go out there and she won't even be able to hear us because the sound of our feet on the snow will be silent.
And that's exactly what we did. We walked out of that cave and the soft cotton snow hid our sounds. Meanwhile, we could see Penelope off there in the distance, looking for us, calling things out in that maniacal way of hers.
Where are you, ugly man? And boy with all that nice, beautiful hair?
And then an inspiration struck me. I took some of that new fallen snow and I made a snowman in the shape of me. Gerald and Marjorie caught on and they quickly made snow people in the shape of them. Then we walked away from the snow people and hid behind a tree on the other side of Penelope. Then came the brilliant part. I took a rock and threw it over near where the snow people were. Penelope turned and thought she saw us. And just when she was shooting her gun at the snow, all the snow exploded like it does in a snow globe, and it came down in a truly perfect snow globe storm. I took that moment to run over to Penelope, tackle her to the ground, pick up the gun, and hold it right at her head. I was about to lose my temper and pull the trigger myself when Marjorie came to my rescue the way I came to hers.
No, Peppermint, no! Think about all the love you've helped today. Don't kill her.
And I regained my senses. Instead of shooting Penelope, I waited while Gerald pulled out his cell phone and called the police. In another couple of moments, Officer Scotsman arrived.
Oh, it's a cold one out. What happened here?
Well, I quickly explained the situation.
Whoa. So she's a murderer, is what you're telling me?
That's right, officer.
And you managed to trap her without harming anybody?
We
Wow.
used the old snow camouflage routine.
Oh, back in police academy, that's what they taught me. Great choice. You know, young man, I think you would make a very good cop someday.
I had never thought of that before, but he gave me his business card and said if I ever wanted to pursue it, I should give him a call. Well, he took Penelope into custody.
Come with me, young lady.
Gerald and Marjorie and I, we got into that vehicle because Penelope had just left it there, and we drove out of that forest, and we drove all the way to the harbor. I could see Gerald and Marjorie were a bundle of different emotions. They were nervous, they were excited, they were giddy, but mostly I think they were afraid. They didn't know how their son was going to react when they finally caught up to him. Well, we drove until we arrived at the harbor. And at the harbor, where all the boats were docked up against the great big pier, we found one boat that was just about ready to make sail. But Gerald started calling out loud, and we ran towards that boat. And when we got on the boat, Gerald saw someone standing on the deck who looked a little bit like him. He was wearing sunglasses, but the similarity in their appearance was undeniable.
Mom? Is that you? Tommy, it's me. What are you doing here? I'm about to go. We're going on a trip to the Bahamas to do some fishing. I know, son. Listen, there are some things that you need to hear. The bad news first. Please, let me.
Then it was
Listen,
as if
Tommy, your brother.
fear overtook her. She paused, but then she continued.
You see, Tommy, your brother is dead. I am so sorry to tell you that Jimmy has passed away. He was murdered, but his murderer is in custody now, and she will be going to prison, I am sure. But most importantly, Tommy, I'm so sorry. You need to know that you have a father, and this is him. Hello, Tommy. My name is Gerald. I am so sorry that I ran away. I'm so sorry that I was never your father for you, but I want you to know your mother and I are in love, and I'm ready to be your father for the rest of my life. Oh, this is all so overwhelming. Who is this guy?
My name is Peppermint Jones.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you, Peppermint Jones.
Well, I helped your father find you.
Well, thank you so much. I've always wanted a father. And now I'm missing a brother.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about that on the ride over here. And I was thinking about how for so long, the only image your father had of you was of a fisherman in a boat and a snow globe. And he was able to sure shake up that snow globe and watch everything settle down again. And that gave him some hope. But the one thing that's bad about a snow globe is everything in there is just stuck in time. It never gets to move forward because it's stuck in the middle of all of that snow. And then, when all of the snow globes fell and broke, your father thought that that meant his life was over. But I kind of look at it in a different way. I kind of look at it as the creatures in that snow globe aren't stuck anymore. You see, they're free and they can go anywhere they want and they can have any kind of new beginning they want, just like a fresh field of snow in a forest.
That was beautiful.
I thought of that on the car ride over here.
You know, we need sailors like you. We could use
Really?
yes, we could use someone who tells beautiful stories and makes life meanings out of small things.
I'm great at making heaps of stuff out of nothing.
Do you want a job?
Gerald, would you mind if I stayed here on the boat instead of coming back to the bar?
I think that's good. You know, I think it's time for me to retire from the bar anyways.
Well, I have an idea. Why don't we all get on the boat? I'll start working here and we could take our first new adventure outside of that snow globe together.
Yes, let's do that.
Well, everybody just started jumping and laughing and hugging and kissing, and suddenly all of that noise was drowned out by the big whistle of the boat, letting everybody know that the boat was about to pull off and that we was headed somewhere. Who knew where, but a brand new adventure. Well, turned out that boat was actually just going to New York City where it was going to be laid over for a couple of days. But it was a nice 7-hour boat ride. I'll never forget saying goodbye to those three for the first time. I got so seasick, turned out that a career on the water wasn't much for me. As I waved goodbye and walked back, I put my hand in my pocket and, I found that business card that the old police officer gave me. Imagine that. Peppermint Jones, an officer of the law. Nah, that wasn't for me either. I didn't know what was, but I crumpled up that card and put it back in my pocket, and I just started walking. Walking and walking. And that led to my next adventure. But that's a story for a different day. Thanks for listening, everybody. Good night. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Valerie, you are awesome. Here's a special round of applause for Valerie. If you're at home, I hope you're giving her a round of applause as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching our show tonight. You are so generous with your time. Those of you who come here again and again, we appreciate you very, very, very much. Please, everybody, allow me one more opportunity to mention that we are here every Thursday at 4 and Friday at 7 Pacific Daylight Time. Come on back and watch our shows next week. If you'd like to take online improv classes, we offer them. Go to synergytheater.com and you can take an improv class with me. I'm the teacher. I'd love to have you do that. If you are comfortable doing so, I would like to take one more opportunity to mention that Synergy Theater is a nonprofit arts organization. We would love to be here for as long as we have to be inside, performing for you free and online like this, and we can do so more and in even better values if you could help us out with a small donation. If you have the comfortable means to make a small donation to us, please go to synergytheater.com. synergytheater.com. Click on that support Synergy Theater button, and anything you can give us would be deeply meaningful. We will see you next week. Stay safe, everybody. Please wear a mask. Please wash your hands. Please stay 6 feet away from everybody else and keep yourself well. Synergy Theater loves you. Good night.